welcome back. On the Streets, probably one of the most scariest little chats I've ever had. I did my best to try to block out this guy's face just because I know he's obviously, anybody who works for the government in this guy's capacity has got some non-disclosure forms, and he probably might have said some things to me that, although most of this is fairly commonly known, I still don't want to get any trouble, so I did my best to kind of block out his face. But what he says is just kind of, well, what can I say? It's just damn scary. And his wish is my wish, but the reality of the situation, what he's saying here is, well, you listen to it and you decide. So anyway, this is what it is. This is what I run into out there on the street. People that are in situations that might be able to know some things that tell us things we should know, but then get prepared for. And if you like this, you know what you do. If you hit the like button, if you care, you share. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you have subscribed, subscribe again, because you know they knock us off. I really need the help. I don't know. It seems like I have to ask, please, if you can, sign up to my PayPal account, and if you can contribute $5 a month or more, please do, because it is difficult for me to go out there and try to get the money I need to sustain this thing when the weather is bad and people just aren't spending the money. I don't know what it is. I'm sure expenses are high. I know it's tough all around, but if you can spare a few bucks to toss my way, or even go buy something at my shop, this way you're getting something for the money you give. The designs I get do spark conversations, and they do come with the money-back guarantee. If you do not trigger a liberal, you will get your money back. So if you can purchase an item, a cell phone cover, a mug, a sweatshirt, or a t-shirt, and I thank you very much. Remember, this is a spiritual battle we're fighting on material planes, so please give me the materials I need to help fight it and stay out there. Thank you very much. Let's get to this clip. On the Streets.
We can just start sending good folks up there.
Yeah.
He's not perfect, but he's trying to do a good job. That's all he's trying to do is a good job.
When he was given one, when he was campaigning for the last...
that dollar's going to pop out.
For the last election, when he was going around, he ad-libbed in one of his speeches, which he's apt to do.
He shot from the hip and a lot of it.
And he said basically what you just said. He just stopped in the middle of the speech because, you can't really call me a Republican, because it's just, but you're going to get it. He was speaking to the crowd. He says, the people out there listening are going to get it. The guys in the back, the ones that they aren't going to get it, but you'll get it. Because all this is common sense.
That's all. That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Where you from?
That's cool. I'm from Cincinnati.
What do you do there?
I work in space avionics, so I'm down here at the MAF. And you know where the MAF is? Michoud Assembly Facility?
Yes.
That's where I'm at this week. So
you're not working on the Space Force, are you?
Yeah, no, well, it's going to have to have it.
Well, don't we already have...
Yeah, sure we do. We just don't talk about it.
Of course not.
It's just not talked about. But can you imagine everything that was getting ramped up after 9/11 in the space industry? I can't, it was incredible. And the Air Force has an incredible budget right now in space.
Yeah.
So,
well, obviously, a magnet for military.
And that was even before he took off.
Oh, yeah.
The Air Force, their avionics budget in space is tremendous.
Well, don't NASA and the Air Force kind of work hand in hand in a lot of this stuff?
with everybody.
And they, from what I understand, have the biggest black budget,
There's a huge black budget. If you look at, a lot of folks don't realize what you got different black budget things in different cities and whatever you think of. Everybody talks about Area 51 and all that crap, but Albuquerque, New Mexico is the capital city of black operations. I mean, there's so much black budget money going into Albuquerque, it would make you blush. But there's a lot going in there.
Now, how much of it? I mean, how much of it is it for just? Because he just came out recently, Trump did, talking about rocket defense, being able to knock out any. We're going to have a shield that'll knock out any.
We're going to have to because, well, the scary part is how it's China's century, and so we're going to have to be ready for that. But it's not. There we go. It's not so much that it's, the Romans built roads, the English built ships, and we had just a mechanized army and navy in space and later and all that stuff. And now we got nuclear power, and the world's smart enough to know the strong powers. We can't nuke each other. So how are you? And when it comes down to losing a war, nations will do any damn thing. So how do you take care of? And they used to tell us. I remember at one time when I was in the 70s, they used to tell us it's close to 11 billion Chinese, but the propaganda now is 4. We didn't lose 7 billion Chinese. So the only way to win a conflict like that is with germ warfare.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. There's other aspects. I mean, we've got bionuclear weapons. There's pulse weapons. There's,
right.
I mean, we can go on and on.
But those are still small field weapons. You're talking about 100 miles and stuff like that.
Right.
The only way you can really defeat and win a conflict with the Chinese is through a virus. And if they start controlling the skies, then we have to deliver it through space.
And do you think this will happen? Do you think this is inevitable?
If you think about it, how do you win the conflict against China? You can't use that much nukes.
Well, what about EMPs? I mean, just allowing the electric blow up
they're ahead of us on that. And you take out all the electric and all the electronics and all of our grid and everything like that. It's still not gonna. They still gonna be soldiers on the ground.
Yeah.
You have to stop them soldiers on the ground. And the only way to stop them soldiers on the ground is to give them the flu. And the only way you can deliver that, if they control the air, they control the sea, is through space. All you can do is a seed, So I hope it never gets to that.
Oh yeah, but
it'd be nice if we could go into this new century making friends, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you help the world was sick of world wars?
Well, that'd be nice, but judging from if you go from history, it's not how.
Well, we still got folks fighting with spears who have a lot to learn about being nice to one another on the planet. We got people that far behind. Imagine when we bring them up, they're still going to want to do the dumb shit we learned our lessons from 100 years ago.
Also, well, isn't the fact that the electronic communications allowing us to advance in that area also?
Yeah,
I mean, there is a consciousness being raised just by the information sharing that we can have and we're doing now. But that's a two-sided sword, because when you bring up also China and the electronic grid and being able to spy and having a technological tyranny, because even in China right now they're doing the citizen, scores.
Yeah, right.
Which is right out of Orwell's 1984 on steroids.
Yeah, right. I think with the Muslims and the Chinese will probably enter into a conflict before we will with the Chinese. They're so close to one another in different parts of the world. They're actually they're intertwined, like throughout Indonesia and all that stuff, and it's just going to cause more conflict.
Well, there's talk also, because when we talk about this, we're talking about the uber elites.
Yeah.
Using the class of cultures. Brzezinski wrote about it in his book.
Yep.
and they're using and indeed allowing Muslims to come up and destroy Western civilization, to bring everything down so they can create chaos, then come in. It's called problem, reaction, solution. In other words, they create the problem, wait for the reaction, come in with the solution, which is like trying to form the EU and these different blocks, making it more and more a world government.
You know, there's some things that never change. The Trilateral Commission and all that stuff. No matter who is in office, those things don't change. Neither does the people.
Well, that is the ultra deep state.
That's something to keep. Yeah, that's the deep state. That's what we're.
But aren't they now being exposed in the sense that when we're looking at it, him getting in and spouting nationalism has sparked nationalism revolts around the world now.
Kennedy said he was going to expose him 2 weeks before he got killed.
Well, yeah, indeed.
2 weeks before he got whacked.
Yeah, that speech got Kennedy killed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, the shadow government speech. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that alarm that was going off told me I had 9 minutes.
Okay. Thanks for it. It's a pleasure talking. Did I give you a get out of jail free card?
You did give me one.
All right, great.
Thank you,
it's a pleasure talking to you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Have a nice weekend.
Yourself. Germ warfare. How wonderful.